The business in the 70s was
so
major league level, but look at this talent. Billy Robinson, and I want to talk some, get your impressions about him because you trained with him so closely, but Billy Robinson, Nick Bockwinkel and Ray Stevens with Bobby Heenan, superstar Billy Graham, Ivan Koloff, Crusher, Wahoo McDaniel. Your dad was the world champ, but he only appeared on the major shows.
He only once in a while.
So that made it more special.
And all these guys were, fighting to get the shot at him.
Robinson, he came over and what?
You forgot. You know who else was there then? Don Morocco and Jimmy Snuka.
Don Morocco and Snuka, but they were just rookies
They were just
and just
starting,
on the card.
but still.
Robinson came over in like 1970 from England, and people had heard about him, and I think he came through by way of Calgary.
Lord Blair's.
Lord Blair's Hawaii.
My dad was
that's
in
right.
Hawaii,
That's
and
right.
Billy was wrestling there, and Lord Blair said, "Hey, you should take this guy to Minneapolis with you. Watch him. He's got different technique than anybody I've ever seen."
And it clicked because in the same territory as you had Crusher and Mad Dog Vachon and these nuts, the two top guys, and both of them baby faces, but when Vern would get in the ring with Billy, he'd kind of heel a little bit because that's the position, but they were the best pure wrestlers in the people's mind.
You always had to have your characters, but you always had to have your wrestlers to carry the matches.
Yeah.
Because Mad Dog Mad Dog could have a longer match. He was good. Crusher could only do 8 to 12 minutes and enough of that.
Yeah.
But so he surrounded them with the rest of us that had to put in the time that could have these, longer matches that got the people involved in it.
When Vern won the title, August 31, 1968, from Dr. X, Dick Byer. Mm-hmm. At that point, by the early 70s, he had slowed the schedule down where he was wrestling, a couple matches a month on the big shows, and he spent more time as a promoter. But he didn't drop the belt until he dropped it to Bockwinkel, November 8, 1975, in St. Paul. What do you think in hindsight? Was Bockwinkel Vern's perfect opponent because he was a heel, or was it Robinson because they could do so much wrestling? He dropped the title to Nick. Should Robinson have ever been in that mix?
I don't think so.
And why do you say that?
The people liked Billy, but I don't think he would have drawn as a champion. His personality on TV.
Go ahead and say dry.
Well, it wasn't dry. It came across more arrogant. Like the British do.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Saying, I'm sorry, Kayfabe Commentaries UK, we've just pissed all over your
I'm sorry,
your countrymen, but
you're all arrogant.
Well,
no, I'm kidding.
But actually,
they come across
I knew
because
Billy,
of that English accent.
When he came to Tennessee, but he was not even necessarily the accent as much as he knew how good he was, and he figured he was probably even better, and he wasn't a prick about it, but he just projected
projected it with
I could whip any man in the house type of thing, even if he's happy. But the one thing that Eddie Graham made the comment, we'd heard it from Kevin Sullivan, that he was watching a Billy Robinson and Tony Charles match in Florida with Eddie Graham, and Kevin said, "Wow, this is the greatest wrestling I've ever seen." And Eddie said, "Yeah, it's good on the card, but it's a shame it won't draw you any money on top." And truthfully, that's the case.
Now the only guys that had good really what I consider a really good match with Billy was Nick. Nick liked working with him.
Yeah.
Ray Stevens, who was one of the great performers of all time, didn't like working with him. Because when you wrestled Billy, you had to wrestle his style. He didn't adapt and blend the two of them together.
Yeah, Ray just figured, I'm the best in the business and I'll make this kid look good if he'll listen to me, but instead I've got to do all this British shit that is his stuff. Yeah,
right.
This period of time, I first saw all these guys because I read the magazines, right? But there was no home video, there was no VHS. TV was depending on the territory. So I'd seen all these names and I'd seen pictures of them, but I never got to see them in the ring until the movie The Wrestler came out.